So let's watch that happen. Here's our package we're going to run. It should look fairly familiar by now. It's going to copy a file using a variable called the source file. That's the path and location of that value. So let's take a look at that variable. So there's source file and copied file. The source file is products ddemo files mod 6 products.txt, and it's copying to the same location under a files folder called products.csv. But something doesn't look right here. Let's go examine that folder. Go to ddemo files mod 6. There is no products.txt. There's a products.csv. So I'm thinking the variable value that we've typed in here is probably wrong. Well, but we'll wait and see what happens. But just be aware that it's using those variables. Then it's doing a data flow task where it's taking that file and using that as a source. It's doing a data conversion, and it's converting product ID into a numeric and price into a numeric from whatever they are. And then it's writing that to a staging table. Then after the data flow finishes, we'll come back here and delete that copied file. All right, so something is going to go wrong in here, and we kind of want to take a look at this and find out what's wrong. The first way we'd probably notice something is wrong is we would run it, and we get an error. We get an error right away. Look at the progress window, right? And the task copy source failed. Well, we knew that. And the reason is it couldn't find a file called ddemo files mod 6 product.txt. We know why, right? Because that file doesn't exist. So let's stop this, come back to our control flow, and I'm going to add a breakpoint to this so I can see in real time what the value of that variable is. To create a breakpoint, I'm just going to right click. I'm going to add or edit breakpoints. And for that particular task, the copy source file task, these are the available events. So we want to take a look at the value of that variable before this ever executes. So I'm going to choose to create a breakpoint on the pre-execute event. Now notice it's going to run every time. Well, in this case, that doesn't matter because it only runs once. But I could, in other situations, choose hit point equals, and hit point is this right here. So I could say hit point equals a certain number, it's greater than or equal to, or hit count multiple. So I could do hit count multiple, set that to 3, and it would, the breakpoint would occur on the 3rd time, the 6th time, the 9th time, etc. We're going to leave it this way. We're going to set it to always. So we'll notice it brings a little red dot there as a visual clue. I'm going to restart this. Now look down here. Here are my windows. There's the locals window and there's the watch window. No variables are in scope yet, so it's not showing me anything. Or I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I haven't added any variables to my watch window yet. But here in the locals window, here are my variables. I need to expand them, but before I do that, it's showing me how long this has been running. The status is it's suspended, and the execution results so far, it's successful. Well, this is pre-execute, nothing's happened, and that nothing has happened really well. So let's expand my variables, and I wish it was different, but it shows you the system variables and the user variables all together. So you have to kind of sort through here, and we see there's the copied file, right? That looks fine. Let's look down for our system, for our user variable for source file. There it is, products.txt. Okay, now I see what the problem is. Now, by the way, you could also right-click on this and add it as a watch. And now it's going to show up in my watch window no matter what. All right, so we know what the error is. Let's fix that. So I'm going to click Stop Debugging. I'm going to go look at my variables. and I'm going to change this to products.csv. Now we'll run it again. Again, we still got the breakpoint there. We have our watch window. We see that it's correct. We can go back to locals window, look at that as well. So now we should be fine. So at this point, we can just click continue, and everything should work well. Uh-oh, there's another problem. What is that? Well, let's look at progress window. We know it isn't our first thing. We fixed that. We scroll down, we see an error here. Data conversion failed while converting the column price to numeric. So if we look at our data flow, sure enough, our data, our derived column, or excuse me, our data conversion is failing, and it's for this, and it's having a problem converting this column, the price column, into a numeric. So let's find out why. Let's stop our execution. I'm going to open up that spreadsheet, products.csv. Ah, I see the problem. It's okay to convert a 0 to a numeric. We're not doing a divide, it's just convert. But how do you convert a dash? We can't. So at this point, we should come back and fix our data, but I want to leave that as an error for later. So I'm not going to fix that there. Instead, I'm just going to look at my data conversion and, well, you know what, let's just leave it there. But you see how you would fix it. You would go in and fix the value in your source data. Let's find out, though, a better way to do that. I'm going to create a grid viewer on the data flow path between my source and my transformation. So I'm going to right-click on the data flow path and enable a data viewer. And notice the little icon that comes up there. And by the way, I could also right-click on it, choose Edit, come here to Data Viewer, and choose only which columns I want. There are only 3 columns. I'll just take them all. Thank you. Now when we, actually, let me come back here. I'm going to remove this breakpoint since we fixed that problem. So I'll right-click, I'll edit the breakpoints, and I'll just clear that. Let's start it again. The copy file runs fine. I go to my data flow, and here's my data grid viewer, and I see, I see right there, that's my problem. So I can now go fix the problem and go on it and execute this from now on.